radio app. WTSO AM Madison. We are 1070 The Game. Free never sounded so good.
Talking Golf at TPC Wisconsin is on the air. Talking Golf is brought to you by American Family Insurance, Oak Park Place, Wild Rock Golf Club, Mercedes-Benz of Madison, TPC Wisconsin, University Ridge Golf Course, Ridgetop Exteriors, Southern Italy Imports, and Nevada Bobs. Now, here's your foursome for Talking Golf.
Mics are on.
Wisconsin Golf Hall of Famer Dennis Tiziani, Wisconsin Broadcaster Hall of Famer Paul Braun, Wisconsin Premier Golf Reporter Gary D'Amato, and host of his daily statewide sports talk show, Mike Heller.
Well, we welcome you in on this beautiful Monday night to Talking Golf. I'm Mike. That's Paul Braun on the other side. Dennis Tiziani is in the middle. We hope to visit with Steve Stricker a little bit later on, maybe sooner, maybe later. And Gary D'Amato will join us on the program today. So we just had the John Deere take place this last weekend, and Brian Campbell won in the first playoff hole. He's won 2 playoffs this year. Those are his only wins on tour. Tiz, we've talked about this before. When you get into a playoff, how the mindset changes. What impresses you with somebody in their process of winning in a playoff, or what is the demeanor you have to win in a playoff?
Well, it's match play, and you can't go along and think that you're going to win making a par. Chances are you're going to have to birdie the hole or a hole. So in this particular case, that playoff, I don't know what he was thinking about on that second shot. He had a pitching wedge, and he hit it 50 yards too long.
Yeah.
Now it flew on him a little bit, and it's a tough area over there where he went. But this other guy, you see how he did that? He hit it, drove it perfect. Then he did a little bit of a drill, knock it down and turn it in.
Yeah.
He's an Illinois guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And what's the coach's name?
Well, they called it a trap draw, right?
It's knock it down, turn it in.
Yeah.
It's a drill that we had with Steve. It's what he'll do when he's choking to death. That's what he'll do. What's the coach's name?
Mike. Who is that? He's played on the Champions Tour events.
How can I forget him?
Yeah, we'll come back to you here in a moment.
Teach him,
the way it works.
He understood that stuff too. He did great. That was just a wonderful playoff. This guy really did a job.
No, the Illinois coach, who's played on the Champions Tour for a bunch of time. We'll get it here.
We're getting old.
In a minute.
Get forgetful.
So he gets a win, and now you'll get this week. It used to be that was the tournament that was played preceding the Open Championship, the British Open, and then they would fly players over. Now there's one more week between, and it's a week that, again, has a different field because a lot of people will be playing at Royal Portrush in 2 weeks for the Open Championship. You ever played over in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Played on all those courses. Played in the International 4-ball there 1 year. I made the birdie on the last hole and got beat. Got beat by 1,
Yeah.
Mike Small is the guy. Mike Small.
Correct, yeah.
Keep thinking about, and he's really good. He's won like 14 Big Tens. He's done wonderful, done really good. And they built a nice facility down there. But to your answer, yes, it's a different kind of golf. The thing that stands out is when Tiger won that tournament over there. I forget which course he played with all the bunkers. He played 4 days, 4 rounds without hitting it in a bunker.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Because it's over 100 bunkers, isn't it?
Oh, it's impossible. It's unbelievable to be able to have that much control. But it's a different kind of golf than here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very much a what kind of course is that called?
Links.
A links course. Now, take you back a little bit to the AmFam tournament.
Yeah.
Who won the tournament here?
Well, yeah, a couple of Europeans.
Just like the links course. That's what this is right here.
Dennis, can we go back just for a minute to the John Deere Classic? Apparently there's a new person running it. They've signed a new contract, right? And it sounds like it's going to be there at least through, I think it's 2030. So there was some thought at one point that tournament may not exist anymore, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I didn't know that. John Deere is a big sponsor of them.
But that's the point. They said they were making the commitment to the community and continuing to have the tournament.
Well, that's no different in here.
Yeah.
We're good through 27, but already we're talking about going further than that. Where are you going to find a guy that's going to, like they do. I don't know what you come up with, $3 million just to have the event. Plus everybody comes there. It's been there for a while. It's got a great history. They do get some good players there. It's a great community project, no different than here. The big winner here was Children's Hospital. That's why we did it.
How about the concern of the condition of the golf course? It looked a little rough down there, didn't it?
Well, you know how ours turned out here after we got done. We tried to maintain it the same way we did for the tournament.
Yeah.
And with the 100-degree temperature and that shortcutting and stuff like that, we experienced the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we rallied it, we did it right. But now, next year, we will do the aerification and that process to get it back right away, the week after the tournament.
The week after the tournament.
Yeah, and it will not be cut at 12 or 13.
Right.
For a stim speed, otherwise you lose it. So you have to really, really be on it. But you could see that it was stressed.
So let me ask you about. There was an amateur that won on an English golfer, Lottie Woad, 21 years old, won the Irish Open by 6 shots over Madeline Segstrom, who we're going to have on a show here, right, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
She had done some work here and practiced here. She's the English golfer, Lottie Woad, 21 years old, that won as an amateur, is the first in 3 years as an amateur. On the men's side of the PGA Tour, the last amateur was Nick Dunlop. He won in January 2024 in the American Express. Prior to him, the last am was Phil Mickelson back in 1991. Are the days of amateurs, well, I asked the question, and I just said Nick Dunlop won last year, but are the days of amateurs competing in and winning tour events, is that day come and gone? It was more common in your era, no?
No such thing as an amateur.
Okay.
If you go by the
version.
technically,
Sure.
If you take golf balls or bags
Right.
now they raise the rate so you can take so much. So it's always a compromise
Sure.
to what's going on. But what's going on in this amateur thing? I mean, we just had a young lady play here today. She shot 6 under. Amateur player. I look at, we just had this one fellow, Larry teaches, I'm trying to think of his name, and they played an event someplace up here in Milwaukee, and this guy was supposed to be a good player, good pro. This guy beat him by 6 shots, this amateur. So you've got these young guys that they are conditioned, and that's all they do is play golf.
Sure.
Really, is there such a thing as an amateur?
Yeah, other than not taking the purse, right? That's the difference, is they're not taking the winning purse.
So they give the purse to their uncle or give the purse to somebody else.
Yeah.
That stuff has gone on forever. And I told you the story about this one kid that I tried to recruit from up in Paynesville, Ohio.
Okay.
And one of the players on my team was from that same high school. So when we were at Ohio State, I went up to recruit him. And we got in the car after we got all done. He says, Coach, that guy really liked you. I said, well, then he'll come to Wisconsin. No, I don't think so. He got $10,000 in a shoebox from Oklahoma State. So this stuff has been going on forever. That you don't even know about. How do some of these people out there wind up with a brand new John Deere tractor? What do you think?
Sure.
$200,000-$300,000 and a guy can afford? Come on.
Okay, I want to go back to a previous part of the conversation on Mike Small. No, I don't want to leave that. I'm just saying I want to go
Mike
back
Small,
to a previous conversation. What makes a good golf coach? I mean, you did it and you had success for a bunch of years here at the University of Wisconsin.
Well,
and some would look at it as teaching, but I have a feeling that you might look at it as a combination of a number of things. What makes for a good college golf coach?
After you get going, of course, you'll recruit some people here. But now he's really dedicated to this. Now he wins. People want to be part of a winning team. And the biggest recruiter that you have is a player from your team.
Sure.
And that's what he's got going. He's got that momentum going. I know he uses Steve a little bit as being there and that sort of stuff. But, there's a trust that has to exist between the coach and the player.
Yeah.
Seems like it takes forever to get that. It takes you 2 seconds to lose it. Just do something funky, especially on the women's end. So and then production. Now the other part is that he has a very regimented go ahead. He's training people to go on to the tour or another deal. So he has a very disciplined workout program, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and then there's so much this and this. Golf is number one.
Yeah.
We were a little bit different here,
Yeah, because you coach both the men and the women, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different story. They're two different they're two different types of people.
Sure. Yeah.
Women are so much better for more supple, better concentration, better at everything except hand strength.
Yeah.
So what we did is we got the hand strength. Get the racket ball with the string in it, put it on their directional
squeeze, grip pressure.
Directional, and that's right, and squeeze that. So, but in his particular case, he can beat he's a good player.
Yeah.
That's number one. So when he walks out there and he starts talking about things, he can play the game. And that's no different than when I played with these guys. Sure, they were good, but I didn't understand how you could shoot so high. We'd go to Ohio State. I used their club and never hit a driver, shoot 70 and beat everyone.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they get the idea about playing golf versus hitting.
You can do it, and they understand your acumen in the game, because that's different than other sports, right? I mean, if you're a great basketball coach, doesn't mean that you have to have played. Or I look at Kelly Sheffield, the University of Wisconsin women's volleyball coach. Some people don't know this. He never played the game, and learned to be a coach. And I always think this about great coaches, whether it was Dick Bennett or Bo Ryan or Kelly Sheffield, in this case, Mark Johnson. He could coach anything. I think a really good coach can coach any sport, but in golf, maybe it's a little bit different because.
Who was the coach at Indiana? The good one.
Bobby Knight.
Oh, he was a sixth man on a team. He never even played.
Didn't start.
There
Correct.
you go. What about
State.
that?
Yeah.
So there's things that they have and things that they can do to produce the winner. They know what has to be done, even though they couldn't do it. In my case, obviously, we could do it. They listen to what we have to say. They can listen to anybody else, but they'll come back to what's going on here. But you got to win.
Sure.
That's what the deal is. You got to win.
The way you coached in the days when you coached the men and the women with today's athlete, would that work today, that style of coaching, or is there a difference?
No, they're all over here. I mean, I got some of the same guys here. This is where they come because of what you know over time now about golf. But, the disciplines are still there. I look at some of the guys here that come here that are from Wisconsin now that are going to other places, people who shoot, 59, 17 years old. I mean, really? Well, we've had him since ninth grade. He doesn't know any other way but the good fundamentals.
Yeah.
He doesn't know nothing else. I just saw him again today. He doesn't know any other way to hold it or any other way to make moves. So all of a sudden they get bigger. Now, what I did notice, however, is the players burn out faster today.
Sure, yeah.
Is that because of how far they're hitting the ball and the type of swing they have and that
how
type
much
of
they
thing?
have to play?
That's it. How much they're competing, they're off and running, and I don't know. This is not worth it. The other side is these kids are graduating from school with a potential high-paying jobs.
Sure. Yeah.
Wait a minute now. I'm going to go over here and try to compete golf-wise.
Yeah.
So I'll do this for a while, get this on my resume, and from the women's end, by the time they're 30, 31, that maternal instinct takes over, and they're going to do something else.
Sure.
Well, look at them. And some of the foreign players, when they get to be 22, 23 years old, they're done.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing this stuff since
we see
teenagers.
it in youth sports all over the place now because of sports specialization.
That's it.
They get burnt out earlier in sometimes it's late teens or early 20s, but either way. All right, so this makes me a little nervous, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You brought up Bobby Knight.
Yeah, right.
You got any story time on Bobby Knight? I'm sure that your paths crossed because Bobby, although he liked to fish and hunt more, he did like to be around a golf course.
I have a lot of them.
Okay.
Because we've done a number
What can
of
we
things.
air with?
I don't know. I went to watch him, that he liked to hunt.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of hunting with my friends Jim and Elmer Lemon.
Okay.
And remember
Sure.
when he got shot?
Yes.
And then when he came to the university, to the field house, they were all dressed in orange. That's him. Or my good friend, the coach at the same time, Sam Carmichael, was his coach.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about because he would teach Bob Knight. So they got in a sand trap. Bob Knight got in the sand trap and never stopped talking. He did all the coaching. But then he would turn around and he would give Sam, I don't know, $50,000 for a Christmas present.
Sure, yeah.
Every Christmas, right?
I've seen there's a YouTube video that's out there of Bobby Knight for his TV show trying to hit a bunker shot.
Oh, he's funny. He's terrible. He's
And
terrible.
they're all the outtakes,
Oh.
of him, swearing and doing all the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
you're not
Throw the
supposed to
club.
do.
I went to watch him play when he was coaching the Olympic team.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was standing there, and there's two of us, Doug Ballman and I. Doug was an assistant. We were standing there, and he was out on the floor, and all of a sudden he looks up. He says, "Who are those guys way up there?" And I just waved at him, so he went on. And then all of a sudden he was turning. He had one leg crossed. He was watching the basketball. So all of a sudden he got up. And he went out to the referee, because they had referees when they were doing that.
Yeah.
And he grabbed the referee's hand and he kept slapping his hand. He said, "This is a foul. This is a foul." And then I was trying to think of the big time center. He's on TV all the time.
Well, Bill Walton, who passed away, you're looking at somebody thinking of
He's a
somebody
very
else.
popular guy. He's on TV, a big center. And, come on.
Shaq? Shaq?
No.
Shaquille? No? Okay.
No,
All
a little older.
Okay.
Anyway, he was sitting in a chair with his leg crossed watching a game, and I saw this guy coming out of the locker room walking, and sat down right next to Knight. He was talking, and all of a sudden he says, "What the hell are you talking about? Get out of here!" And he kicked him out. He just started. He was that way, you know.
Right, no doubt.
Do you want to hear another Bobby Knight story? I've got
Sure,
one.
yeah.
Oh, boy.
1983 or 1984 when I was on Channel 15.
Yeah.
Indiana was coming to town to play basketball. We worked at their SID and set up an interview at the field house the day they were practicing before the game. The SID sports information director said, "You guys, the camera guy, go into the building, go to the opposite end where they're shooting free throws, set up, and then go back out of the building and we'll come and get you."
Yeah.
So we set up, and then he came out and he got us. And we're sitting there, two chairs, one in each direction, and Bobby Knight's at the free throw line watching his guys shoot buckets.
Yeah.
Looks over and glances a couple of times, and all of a sudden he comes and he sits down in the chair opposite me.
Yeah.
I heard this.
And he looked at me and he says, "What the hell does a guy your size know about basketball?" That was his opening line.
That was it, huh? But he stayed and he did the interview.
I folded like a cheap suit.
Oh, sure.
I asked about 3 or 4 questions, and the interview was over. Now, 20 years later, he'd have got a different answer.
Oh, yeah,
And the
sure.
SID said he was actually in a very good mood, and he was challenging you. And he said if you would have responded, he may have sat there for a half hour.
Sure. Yeah, he was, I think, toughness like toughness there. He enjoyed it when people stood up
But he
to
just
him.
caught me so
Yeah, right. Well, not too many years later, and then we'll take a break because Gary D'Amato is coming up next. Not too many years later, I did the same thing, but it was in a group interview at the Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And mutual at the time, Van Stout had asked maybe the second question, and that was the end of the interview because Bobby Knight didn't like the phrasing and said, "That's it, I'm done," and walked away, and that was the end. That's what you got from sometimes you got it, sometimes you didn't. Gary D'Amato is going to join us on the other side. We'll visit with the longtime golf writer and the former president of the National Golf Writers Association. He's due next as we continue talking golf at TPC, Wisconsin.
Your golf game need a pick-me-up? It's one-stop shopping.
Clear. First break, 3 minutes. Gary is on the line, and nothing from Steve.
That right, Joel?
Your game, your store, always at the best price.
Thank you, Wisconsin, for supporting the 2025 American Family Insurance Championship. This year's event debuted a new team competition and a new location at TPC, Wisconsin. Congratulations to the winning team of Darren Clark and Thomas Bjorn. The pair shot 32 under over the 54-hole event, securing the team title with a final round score of 7 under 64. Mark your calendars for the 2026 American Family Insurance Championship, which returns to TPC, Wisconsin, June 5th through the 7th. Stay up to date on all things AmFam Champ at AmFamChampionship.com.
Why drive an ordinary car when for the same monthly payment, you could be driving something extraordinary? Aaron Perkins, General Manager, Zimbrick European. Imagine yourself behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or Porsche. More safety, performance, and luxury, and way more fun. And getting more costs less than you think. Zimbrick European makes leasing affordable. Discover the value for yourself. Stop in and test drive a Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or Porsche.
Barkley wasn't a center, but he's around a lot.
Dreams make so much sense.
Hey guys, it's Mike Heller for Lombardi Limonada. You know this is my time of year, hitting the links, grilling out, boating. Better weather means Lombardi time. Lombardi Limonada, an Italian-inspired hard lemonade, locally owned and made with all natural ingredients, none of those artificial sweeteners. And it goes great with just about any summertime activity, anytime, anywhere. Loosen up by picking up some Lombardi Limonada today at your local Festival Foods and make any time feel like summertime with Lombardi Limonada.
Escape to Wild Rock Golf Club in Wisconsin Dells, where championship golf meets breathtaking natural beauty. The perfect golf getaway awaits, with numerous luxurious lodging styles perfect for groups of any size. Carved from the natural beauty of the area, Wild Rock is set against rolling hills, rugged terrain, and views you won't forget. Book your next round or stay and play package today and get ready for an exceptional golf experience. Visit wildrockgolf.com for more information. That's wildrockgolf.com.
Hi, Matt LePay, your friendly game announcer for Ridgetop Exteriors. Is your home ready to stand out this season? Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardy, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they've delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com for your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Your golf game need a pick-me-up? It's one-stop shopping only at Nevada Bob. Joel and his crew can equip you.
10 seconds, you got 10.
Here's the best part. New or used, clubs, shoes, bags, carts, apparel, balls, you name it, and they got it. Isn't that right, Joel?
Your game, your store, always at the best price.
Mics are on.
Back with you, it is Talking Golf. Mike Heller, Paul Brown, Dennis Tiziani, and we welcome in Gary D'Amato, who is a regular on this program. We're lucky to have him. Happy to have you on board with us. You know, Gary, I was talking earlier in the show about the English golfer Lottie Wood, who won on the European Ladies Tour. She's 21 years old, and she won as an amateur. What I failed to mention is that not the last, but one of the great stories of an amateur was Lydia Ko, who won in 2012 on the LPGA Tour. She was only 15 years old, and she won again in 2013 when she was 16. I just wonder, in the times that you have covered the sport, the young amateurs that you've covered, who are some of those maybe that stood out? And we were talking earlier about amateurs not winning on the PGA Tour, but Nick Dunlop did a year ago in the American Express, and the last one was Phil Mickelson prior to that in 1991.
Way to go, Lefty.
Yeah, I remember Lydia. I remember Lydia Ko very well when she came to Blackwell Front in 2012 for the U.S. Women's Open. She was, I'm not sure at that point if she had won already or if she was going to win later in the season, but I interviewed her there because she was sort of a sensation. She had, come to America from her native country of New Zealand, and had the big glasses on, and just a precocious, young teenager who would go on to set the LPGA Tour on fire, basically, and is still playing well all these years later. The one person I thought was going to make it for sure, and I know Dennis worked with him for a while, was Jordan Niebrugge from Mequon, who had that 2013 season when he basically won everything he entered. And, a couple of years later, he finished tied for sixth in the British Open. And kind of surprised that we haven't seen his name, on the PGA Tour by now.
Boy, are you waiting for a comment?
Well, I'm curious. I mean, we've had these types of discussions.
He's an exceptional player. And, we spent a lot of time together. And he did everything right. He was kind of dominated by his dad. You get a guy like that, somehow or other, he's going to take off. Of course, then he got a girlfriend and stuff. But even still, he played really good. In fact, I asked him, I'll continue doing this, but you have to finish school. He was out Oklahoma State. You have to finish school. And he looked at me and he says, not if I win the Open. That was just before he went out playing the Open.
Right.
Not if I win the Open. He wasn't going to finish school. But he's right about that. But I think that you'll hear about him again. He'll come to his senses before too long.
Yeah.
And I think he moved back. I think he moved back to Milwaukee. He's with some other guy.
Wasn't he with Marquette? Didn't he start coaching, Gary, with Marquette? Or did he volunteer?
Gary, let me revisit a couple of times, but as we get deeper now, the final major championship of the season will be the Open at Royal Portrush a week and a half from now. But we're also then going to inch up on the Ryder Cup. And there's been no resolution or no conversation from Keegan Bradley as to what he will do. He is currently 9th in the point standings. The top 6 make it automatically, and then after that you get captain selections. Has your opinion on this changed at all? And don't you think at some point Keegan Bradley ought to make some proclamation or an announcement that he will or will not make himself eligible as a potential playing captain?
Well, yeah, I think he does have to say something about that pretty quickly here. I mean, the Ryder Cup's coming up, it's barely 2 months away at this point. So, yeah, I think he should make some sort of announcement soon. And my opinion hasn't changed. I love Keegan's, spirit and his passion as it relates especially to the Ryder Cup. But I don't, in my opinion, just my opinion, I don't think he should be a playing captain. I think it's there's too many things to do now for the captain, and I know he's got assistants that can help with everything, but it's such a pressure-laden spot. And should they go over there and get hammered and he plays, what's the story going to be? He shouldn't have been playing captain. It cost them, the Ryder Cup. That's what the story's going to be. So I think he should stick to just being a captain.
By the way, the top 6 right now are Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, J.J. Spawn, Russell Henley, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas. Tiz, any issue with DeChambeau being on the U.S. Ryder Cup team?
Well, I don't have really an issue for all those guys because it's golf. I could really care less. All I know is that there were things done behind the scenes that had nothing to do with anything except for the money.
Yeah.
I think people, will continue to watch golf, but I'm having a hard time watching it. I don't know half of the people that's on there.
Sure.
So it's hard to do that. Yet, when I look at the scores, holy man, they're better than what they were before.
Sure.
Now, back on that amateur, somebody mentioned about that amateur thing, is that it's such a closed shop. The PGA Tour.
Yeah.
All those tours are such closed shops that it's difficult, other than by invitation, to get in. If there was more of an open qualifying that these amateurs could play in, because they're playing all the time, a lot of them don't have family commitments. Money's not the object. Hey, wow.
Yeah.
So, there'd be more of that.
Gary, let me ask you a question. Tiz, I would love to get your thoughts on this as well. Gary, you brought up off the air, you said let's maybe talk about the new private club that's going to be built in Ashippun. This industry has gone back and forth. There was a golf boom in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and then the game suppressed. I mean, maybe they overbuilt. And now we seem, Gary, to be in an era in which we're seeing, again, more explosion in golf development. We see all of the work done at Sand Valley, and now there's that new private club near Ashippun that Carl Meyer is involved with. Tell me what you know about that.
Well, yeah, actually, Carl Meyer, that was a different story.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yep.
Yeah, but who's involved in that, in this private club that's being proposed for Ashippun? The course will be called Kettle Forge. It'll be a private club, and the principals are Bill Kubley. He's a Monroe native. Not sure if Dennis might know him, but he runs Landscapes Unlimited, the biggest golf course developer and construction company in the world, basically. And Bill came back and was working with Bob Lang on Bob Lang's project to try to build a public course in town of Summit. And wound up having some philosophical differences with Bob and broke off and found some different land near Ashippun. And Brett Craig, who former president of Transitions Optical, a guy who lives in Delafield, those two guys, Kubley and Brett Craig, are going to develop this high-end private club near Ashippun. They're having a guy named Scott Hoffman. He'll be the lead architect. And maybe you'll want to ask Steve about this when he comes on. They brought in Steve Stricker as a player consultant. So I don't know where all the money's coming from to build all these golf courses, but it seems to be out there.
Tiz, let me ask you then, is the golf course, like these things that we're talking about, is it economy driven? Is it the growth of this game, the combination of those?
It's the real estate around it. You sell the real estate around it, then the out, because there has to be an out. The out is then you sell the course to the membership.
Sure.
That's the out. But in the meantime, we have the person doing here, what's the name of our course here?
TPC Wisconsin.
No, the business over at Hawks Landing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We're going to build another course now.
Okay.
Out further west, Cross Plains, out that area.
Yep.
And, so it's on so many, but now it's 600 lots. Well, that's the deal.
Sure. How you
sell
sell
the
home
lots.
sites.
That's right, your home site. So a lot of these guys are developers. You take a look at the courses in Madison, Wisconsin. How many of these courses are moved by lots?
Sure. Well, all of them. When you talk about Bishops and Bergamont and all of the outer,
okay.
It happened years ago at
but
Maple
the
Bluff.
old time courses that happen. So that's the thing of getting people involved. They're going to build this course, this ultra private course. Now that's near Milwaukee. That this course we're talking about.
Yeah.
Think there's any private courses in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Dennis, do you see Steve doing things like that and in a role like that where he's a player consultant?
I think that he's going to be asked about it because he has that vision, that good thing. That's why we had him here to give us some things. And some of the tweaks that he made really superseded that business of the developer that we had who does courses all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
The fact that, they get on to somebody like him, that's strictly a play for his connection, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, I think it's great that he has that opportunity to look towards something like that. That's something that interests him.
Gary, let me. I'm sorry, Paul. Gary, let me tee up on the Carl Meyer because I misunderstood your text. But fill me in on what that storyline is.
Yeah, there's a lot of great charitable causes and events that happen in golf. We all know how much money golf raises for charity, not only on the tour levels, but you go down to all the mom and pop courses around the state and around the nation really have charitable events, on their calendar, dominating the summer calendar. But a guy named Carl Meyer plays Chaniqua Country Club on the 4th of July every year. He's done it for 18 straight years. He plays 100 holes. He's a member there. He's off at dawn, plays till dusk, plays 100 holes, and single-handedly raises money for a charity called Hire Heroes USA, which places military veterans and their spouses, helps them gain employment after their military service is done, prepares them for civilian jobs. And Carl did it again this past 4th of July, and over the 18 years, he's raised all by himself $1.9 million for Hire Heroes USA. I think just phenomenal story, isn't it?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it really is.
It's incredible. We just talked a week ago or so about how this game is a great give back game. We were doing it with Derek a week ago. But boy, what an incredible story! And you have that at Wisconsin.golf. Did you guys put something together there, Gary?
Yeah, it's in my Sweet Spot column, which posts on Mondays and posted earlier today on our website, along with the story I did on Kettle Forge, the new private club.
Sure.
Gary, have you ever covered the Open in all of your years of coverage of golf? And if you did, what was that experience like?
I did. I covered the Open twice back when I was at the Journal-Sentinel and the paper was spending money hand over fist.
Years ago. Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. I covered 2004 at Troon where Todd Hamilton won, and then the next year, 2005, Nicklaus's last Open championship and the one that Tiger Woods won in that great season he had in 2005. That was at the Old Course.
St. Andrews.
And what I remember about the Royal Troon was Skip Kendall, our good buddy Skip Kendall from Fox Point, was I think either in the lead or the co-lead after 36 holes. And I thought, man, the Journal-Sentinel finally sends me to the Open Championship, and Skip Kendall's going to win. But he did not hold on to win, but he had a great. I think he finished like in the top 15 of that one of his better major championship finishes. Yeah, fun times over there.
Good stuff. Gary D'Amato, we always appreciate the time you spend with us. I hope the rest of the week is great, and we'll look forward to visiting again next.
Thanks so much, guys.
Gary D'Amato joins us weekly on the program. We got a little lesson conversation when we come back. We're going to talk about what you do when you go to the range. Now, that seems like an open-ended question. However, there is a plan that you have to have, and we'll dive into what the guy next to us understands about having a plan when you go to practice. You have a plan when you practice everything else. Why wouldn't you when it comes to golf? We'll visit on that conversation when we come back. Talking golf at TPC Wisconsin.
Thank you, Wisconsin, for supporting the 2025
Clear. Break number 2, 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
new location at TPC Wisconsin. Congratulations to the winning team of Darren Clark and Thomas Bjorn. The pair shot 32 under over the 54-hole event, securing the team title with a final round score of 7 under 64. Mark your calendars for the 2026 American Family Insurance Championship, which returns to TPC Wisconsin June 5th through the 7th. Stay up to date on all things AmFam Champ at amfamchampionship.com.
Sculpted by glaciers, played by champions, the University of Wisconsin Golf Course University Ridge is open for play and awaiting your arrival. With more tee times open in 2025, you can reserve your next round directly at universityridge.com. Not enough time for golf? Enjoy our excellent selection of Wisconsin golf merchandise. Fine-tune your game at our world-class practice facility or grab a bite and drink at the W Grill. Put University Ridge on your calendar in 2025 and play where the Badgers play. That's University Ridge Golf Course.
Would you like more time to focus on your hobbies and less time with keeping up with your home? This is Paul Braun for the Arbors Independent Living at Oak Park Place. Contact the leasing team at Oak Park Place to find out how you can live your best life doing the things you enjoy with neighbors that quickly become friends at the Arbors Independent Living at Oak Park Place on Madison's East Side and in Janesville. Live life, live well. Visit oakparkplace.com to learn more.
Why drive an ordinary car when for the same monthly payment you could be driving something extraordinary? Aaron Perkins, General Manager, Zimbrick European. Imagine yourself behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or Porsche. More safety, performance, and luxury, and way more fun. And getting more costs less than you think. Zimbrick European makes leasing affordable. Discover the value for yourself. Stop in and test drive a Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or Porsche today. Visit Zimbrick European and find out why leasing the car of your dreams makes so much sense.
If you're a golfer who likes a challenge, consider being a member at TPC Wisconsin. The course provides you with a very challenging 18-hole layout that makes you think before you hit your next shot. After your round, you can relax at the completely renovated clubhouse. The new facility includes 3 restaurants, tennis courts, driving range, and programs for juniors, plus other great amenities. Are you up for the TPC Wisconsin Challenge? For details on becoming a member, 608-249-1000.
Hey guys, it's Mike Heller for Lombardi Limonada. You know this is my time of year, hitting the links, grilling out, boating. Better weather means Lombardi time. Lombardi Limonada, an Italian-inspired hard lemonade, locally owned and made with all natural ingredients, none of those artificial sweeteners. And it goes great with just about any summertime activity, anytime, anywhere.
10 seconds,
Loosen
you got
up
10.
by picking up some Lombardi Limonada today at your local Festival Foods and make any time feel like summertime with Lombardi Limonada.
Mics are on.
Back on Talking Golf, along with Mike Heller, Dennis Tiziani, I'm Paul Braun. And Dennis, there's a very interesting article in Golf Digest, the latest edition, and they're talking about the practice range and how things are changing because basically the article says that most golfers go up there, they hit a bucket of balls, they get some sense of accomplishment on something that they might be doing better that will make them have better scores and those kind of things. But really the bottom line is that probably a majority of people who go to the range don't have a clue what they're doing other than just hitting balls. Would you agree with that?
True. That's what's happened. Look at the areas that we or go to China or Japan. That's all they do is do the range. There's not an. That's all they do is do the golf. That's what's happening here. There's no golf holes at some of the indoor facilities that I see now. They just hit balls.
So how does that player? They talk about they need training on getting an accurate sense of what the problem is and what's the solution. How do you go about doing
Why don't you find somebody who knows something about golf? And that's an issue that we've got. So many of the PGA that we have now are really credit card collectors. There's very few that I see that are players and teachers. And that's what a PGA player used to be, a good player and a good teacher. And I think you have to be a better than average player in order to be a teacher. You have to learn the fundamentals, and then you teach those fundamentals. Now, there's so many of those, and it can be complicated and stuff like that. Some people aren't going to dive into it that way. They're going to go there for the exercise, get the pizza, get the beer, and it's another day. I hit balls, and I hit them all over the yard.
Sure.
I mean, they're picking balls up off of the interstate up here.
Yeah. So, and there's a totally different level of the golf ranges, which are, Top Golf and Pin Seekers, which is in Madison, and there is a market for that, and that is an entertainment like going to a bowling alley.
Absolutely. I'm
Totally
happy
different,
about all
which
that.
grows the game a little bit, but in order to get better when you go to a range, there has to be a plan.
Well, you have to be fundamentally correct.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this game is complicated, right?
Sure.
So, and people aren't going to go through it. And in the teaching process, how can I make this uncomplicated? So our deal is we do a little bit a lot of times. Rather than stand there for 1 hour and take a lesson and you leave there confused, especially on a female end, it's a little bit. You teach them about how to hold a club. Okay, then you go about this. You're talking about how does this work? Hands are different than the core.
Mm-hmm.
The core has 5 radial torque pieces to it. Radial torque is distance. Did I lose you guys yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, there's 5 of those things. Well,
We're close.
Yeah, there's 5. The guy says, "Oh, what the hell is that now?" Well, it's left ankle,
Sure.
hips, pecs and abs, shoulders, left arm. Those are the twisters. Those are the radial torque pieces, and you get those all together. Oh, how does this work? You
Yeah.
know? So there we go. But you have to learn that part of it. And some of the young people that we have are good because they got it. They know every one of those things. Now, we train them to be their own best teacher. So when you're out there playing golf, which is different than hitting, and things aren't right, and because metabolism rate changes every day, it's different. You better know what you're doing and what's causing that. So we have a thing that we call shape and trajectory and path. Oh, really? Yeah. Shape and trajectory is in your hands. If it's going crooked, left or right with a big curve, it's in your hands. Path is the relationship of your shoulders to the line at impact, governed by your footwork. Now, I know I lost 90% of who we talked to already, right? But you got to go through that. And then all of a sudden, people are not stupid. But they have to have a little bit of confidence that who's telling them what to do, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's going to take time. Now, the beauty part about this game is exactly that. It takes time. So you'll never stop learning.
Mike, you mentioned the facilities, and they're very well-equipped launch monitors. They have more information on how to swing, how the ball reacts, how to react to that and that kind of thing. But what it says is that doesn't account for golfers' tendencies. And what does that mean?
Well, it's what's the ball do? What's your ball doing? Is it hooking? Is it slicing? Is it to the right or to the left? And there's reasons for that in the golf swing. Either your arms and your hands or the club head's moving faster than your turn. There really only is one conscious move in the golf swing you have to make. Only one.
Shoulder.
That's it. Oh, how much? Well, you've been hanging around with me. Been hanging around with me too long. It's your upper left quadrant. That
For
is
you,
what
upper right.
Well, yeah, we don't know. He gets it. Upper left. That has to start the turn. That's the first 7 vertebrae down. That shoulder turn starts the action. If you keep on turning, then your pecs and abs turn. And if you keep on turning, then you're finally going to get your hip to turn. Those are all resistors. Because on the way to the other way, going back to the left, you want your pecs and abs to go through before your shoulders. I want arm speed. Last I knew, my arms were hooked up to my shoulders, right? That's what but 90% of the people, wherever they start, their core moves together. Hips, pecs and abs and shoulders all move at the same time.
So don't get mad at me on this question, all right? I'm going to preface it. Does it change? Do you have to teach older differently?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, if you're teaching somebody that's 19 years old, you're going to teach them a little bit different on what moves and how it can move and how far it can move than you do to somebody that's 61.
But they're not going to shoot 65.
Yeah.
So what are you happy with?
Correct.
Let's get down to that point. If you get a guy shoots 85 or better, he loves it.
Yeah.
So we have to do some things. Okay, so we have to, I can't turn. This hurts, that hurts. So you build things, and that's teaching. You build things in. Now, if you keep doing the same bad things over and over and over and over and over again, doing consistency, chances are be pretty good.
Do the same bad things
Same
over,
bad things
as
over
long
and
as
over
you're
again.
consistent.
Correct.
Because we see people, right, that will set up to hit the ball 20 degrees left of the fairway,
Right.
and they then play that fade back
Right.
into the fairway. Or the friend that I have who plays with a closed stance and sets up to hit it over there when he's going to hit it to
Right.
the left of that target by quite a bit.
Right.
And if you're consistent with it, you can play with it, not all the time,
Right.
but you can survive it.
I have those type all the time. They play with the grip, it's so far out of whack, it's unreal, right?
Mhm.
But they've devised a way how to change their plane on the way down and how to go ahead and hold on to it in the strike zone so they can play a little bit. And occasionally they get that shot that gets
Sure.
them back, or
Yeah.
that hole that gets them back. But when you're dealing with a youngster starting out, you're teaching him all those right fundamentals, and he gets to understand what's going on. I mean, the players that we have here, some of these young guys, I mean, one boy shot 59. Now, you didn't shoot 59 because you were playing with the bad everything. We playing with the good everything. And we have other ones, too. And what's really good is who picks this up better than anybody is the women, the young girls.
Yeah.
And they are strong in the right place,
Mm-hmm.
The
Coachable between the ears sometimes.
Well, they're strong between the ears, but they got the glutes,
Yeah.
and that's the thing you get to use, see? You can use your feet then how to play. So those are all things. What'd you say? The guy said, well, you got to use your feet like shooting a free throw, Blows their mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, there are those people that are committed, and they'll go upstairs. We have a guy right here who goes upstairs. He picked up, 7 or 8 miles per hour?
Yeah, at least 20 yards.
Picked up
Yep.
7 miles on his club head speed.
Yeah.
It can be done, but that's a commitment.
But on the other side of it, I think everybody that plays the game, for the most part, they want to improve. But what you're saying is, where do they go and how do they get that? Because, quite frankly, the industry may not have enough people that are good at giving quality instruction and really understand what's going on. How do you handle that? Where do you go?
You got to find somebody who does it. There are people who are really good at what we do, right? But, oh boy, their prices now are getting up to $150, $200 an
Sure.
hour.
It's an investment.
When I first started out, it was $35. That's it. Well, you had people, it was so bad that my blue pants used to be faded. I was out there for so much.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're not going to invest. Or the easier way, let's buy a club.
Sure.
That's the solution for a lot of people.
Let's buy a club. Let's go and do this here and
and
see
the
what I can
industry
real
has
fast.
embraced that, right? The industry makes a lot of money off
Right.
of those who think that the game gets better only with
Right.
equipment.
Well, I have people who call. Obviously, I still teach. But if there's no commitment there, then I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, and I would go back to what you were saying earlier, Paul, on that last question, is that if there aren't enough good I think most people, not all, but most people are unwilling to invest in the lesson.
Correct.
And you're not going to, reiterate, I've spent too much time around Dennis. If you don't start with the fundamentals, you can't get home. Right.
We have some good people in this city.
Sure, yeah.
We had Mike Schnarr on last week.
Yeah, Derek
He does
Schnarr
very
on
good.
last week, yeah.
There's a young fella, I don't know how young he is anymore. He fits clubs over at Joel's place.
Yeah, Vitense and at Nevada Bob's.
Yeah, there's some good people out there, and there are some better ones. It all depends what you want to do. And some people don't relate. I mean, not everybody wants to take a lesson from me. Are you
Sure,
kidding?
yeah,
I wouldn't take a lesson from me either, but
Yeah,
some of them
well,
will
look,
come there.
He has a unique style, folks.
Yeah.
Well, but here's what I would say is that Dennis's style, every time I've watched, it's very positive. It doesn't. Some coaches can occasionally get negative.
Oh yeah.
Dennis he's a positive reinforcement teacher. When something good happens, and I watched him teach Jackson, my son, a little bit, and Dennis has helped me. And when something good happens, the smile and the laughter coming from this guy is a positive reinforcement.
Well, you have to have an outcome. There has to be a result, and we can't take forever to get the result. We have to say, so then you start working backwards all the way back, giving them a hand drill, giving them a foot drill. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. So all of a sudden they can incorporate. Now you switch it around, and you incorporate so that you meld your hand action with your core.
Yeah.
Because that's the deal. Those are the two items that you have to get together.
It's so deep and so complicated and also so invigorating and fun. I mean, when you take a lesson to find, you might only hit 20% of those shots that you wanted to hit, but those 20% gives you the hope and the idea that if I could just do that more consistently, and when you do it the right way, then you go, oh, shoot, well, I can do that. I can find my way to do that more often.
When they come in to get their mug club, and the guy says, I birdied 16 and I birdied 18, or I did this or I did that, he's got a smile from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's the payment.
That's pretty good.
Right there. That's the payment.
Yeah.
I saw something very interesting. We talk about distances on the scramble here on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
In our group, we had a 5-person scramble.
Yeah.
On number 2, what is it, 480?
Yeah, about that, 475, 480, yeah.
We had 156 yards to the pin on our second shot.
Yeah.
Well,
3 of us scoped it thinking, no, it can't be that close. It was close.
Yeah.
156 yards.
Oh, well, it's
your
amazing.
tee shot, huh, Paul?
No.
No.
I was probably about 100 yards back from that.
2 shots.
But I mean, it is incredible what some people are, the distance they're hitting the golf ball.
My young guy, I tell you, he said he was really upset. I lost the long drive contest. I said, you did? Yep, I lost by a yard, and I'm really pissed off. He says, about that right now. I said, well, how far did you hit it? He says, 346.
Okay.
346. What, are you kidding me?
We'll come back and wrap things up in a minute. This is Talking Golf at TPC, Wisconsin.
Your golf game need a pick-me-up? It's one-stop.
Clear, break 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Here's the best part. New or used, clubs, shoes, bags, carts, apparel, balls, you name it, and they got it. Isn't that right, Joel?
Your game, your store, always at the best price.
Thank you, Wisconsin, for supporting the 2025 American Family. This year's event debuted a new team competition and a...
Roger, that's what I heard. Music at 56.
Under over the 54-hole event, securing the team title with a final round score of 7 under 64. Mark your calendars for the 2026 American Family Insurance Championship, which returns to TPC, Wisconsin, June 5th through the 7th. Stay up to date on all things AmFam Champ at amfamchampionship.com.
Escape to Wild Rock Golf Club in Wisconsin Dells, where championship golf meets breathtaking natural beauty. The perfect golf getaway awaits, with numerous luxurious lodging styles, perfect for groups of any size. Carved from the natural beauty of the area, Wild Rock is set against rolling hills, rugged terrain, and views you won't forget. Book your next round or stay and play package today and get ready for an exceptional golf experience. Visit wildrockgolf.com for more information. That's wildrockgolf.com.
Hi, Matt LePay, your friendly game announcer for Ridgetop Exteriors. Is your home ready to stand?
54:30. You're going to have about 2 minutes-ish.
More than just top-quality roofing, they're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they've delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com for your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
When you or a loved one could use a helping hand, turn to the caring team of experts in senior living at Oak Park Place. This is Paul Braun, and when I needed someone to help me navigate senior living for my wife, I called Oak Park Place. They were with me every step of the way from the first call through move-in day. Choose a community that promotes independence when you want it, assistance when you need it. Oak Park Place Senior Living. Visit oakparkplace.com to learn more.
Hey, it's Mike Heller for Lombardi Lemonada Hard Lemonade. Everybody loves something new, especially when it's brand new and a taste of your favorite hard lemonade just in time for summer. Lombardi Lemonada comes in 4 unique flavors, crafted with all-natural lemon juice and no artificial sweeteners.
30
Crisp, clean,
seconds.
and so refreshing. It's a little slice of Sicily made right here in Wisconsin. Pick up some Lombardi Lemonada today at your local Festival Foods or at Woodman's and taste the summertime. Variety packs or single flavors available.
Your golf game need a pick-me-up? It's one-stop shopping only at Nevada Bob. Joel and his crew can equip you, dress you, teach
10
you.
seconds, you got 10.
New or used, clubs, shoes, bags, carts, apparel, balls, you name it, and they got it. Isn't that right, Joel?
Your game, your store, always at the best price.
Mics are on.
Back on Talking Golf, along with Mike Heller, Dennis Tiziani, Paul Braun here. Dennis, we got about a minute and a half left. In terms of getting better and playing golf, putting is an integral part of it. How about avoiding the 3-putt? What's the key to doing that?
Well, you have to control distance. If, in fact, you're breaking the putter, breaking your wrists, and hitting the ball, if you're hitting the putt from behind, hitting it, and you can hear the sound, you'll never control the distance. And in a tight situation, it'll be flimsy. It's either you have to be able to roll the ball. In other words, put the putter on the back of the ball, and it's the forward movement of the putter. Now, I'll tell you what is a drill. You take your ball, take it about 3 or 4 feet from the hole. Put your putter down behind the ball. Now, just move the putter head forward. You move the putter head forward, and you'll notice that when you do that, the heel will go first. And the ball will have a tendency to feel like it rolls off the toe. Rolls off the toe. So roll the ball. Keep doing that. Roll the ball. Not hit the ball. Hitting the ball doesn't get it. And then it happens, sometimes have a bad grip, left hand, the right hand's on wrong. You got to get those on straight. But it's when you bend the putter back with your hands and then you hit it with your hands. No.
Yeah.
No wrist break to the right. That particular angle that your right wrist is in, never change it. Stays the same.
It's interesting because, and we don't have time for this, and I think we've had this conversation in the past, that it used to be different. We used to watch many players who would it would be very handsy in the way they putted because the greens were a lot slower.
Right, you had to hit the ball.
Had to hit the ball. Now you don't have to, just because the green speeds.
No, you'd have to, way back when you'd have to have about a 4-foot backswing and then have it to roll.
Next week, I think Steve Stricker will join us. We had he'll be on next week is the plan now. We've figured that part out.
Okay.
And then we'll be talking about the Open Championship that is later on that week. Well, we're going to have a busy next Monday. Thanks for being here this Monday. We'll talk to you again next week. Talking Golf at TPC, Wisconsin.